out to everybody that is in the room early. We got 22 people up in here. That is what's up. If you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure that you guys smash the like button. All right. It's good to see everybody in here. All right. Shout out to everybody who was in TD Hip Hop Media and my live stream earlier. Shout out to my man Tori and Rain for calling in. There's going to be some clips posted from that later on in the week, and I think TD actually just posted a clip from that today. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Just Talking with TD and Rob, make sure you guys go over there and check out that channel. And what we're going to be doing from here on out, some radiation emojis or a 1 or a thumbs up in the chat. If you can't, put some angry faces in the chat. I'm sure there's people like Jay the Informant and Jay Bird who will think it's funny to have me all mixed up by putting angry faces and thumbs down in the chat. That's what we need. That's what we need. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Keith West. What up with it, bro? We got Terrence in the building. Got my man Tori and Rain up in here. We got Christopher Perkins. We got Carla. We got Deneen. We got Janesta. Shout out to Janesta. You know what I'm saying? We got Terrence in the building. We got Dream. If you just hang tight for about 15 seconds, it'll take you right into the next one. You can hit the bell and already hit the like button. All right. So what we're going to do real quick, I'm going to run through this stuff. If I miss any chats, I apologize. It's only because I'm rushing. We're going to talk about some updates that have happened with the Scorpion unit and other people involved in the Tyre Nichols situation who are being looked at. Okay. So here's what we have. Remember earlier we talked about some past complaints that were going on with the Scorpion unit. This Scorpion unit here does not have a clean bill of operation. They've been dirty, and we're going to check that out.
Memphis Police's Scorpion unit may have been unknown to most Memphians, but those who say they had encounters with the special unit knew plenty about their tactics.
All I heard is freeze, get out the car. Put your MF hands up before I blow your heads off. Both of you, get out the car. So put your hands up.
Now, how many people saw the stream that I did earlier? Uh-oh, my man Tori and Rain got a commentary coming about Sarah Lynn Davis. Ooh-wee. Oh-wee. She about to catch some Tori and rage. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't this story sound like the same story about those police officers that we talked about earlier in Detroit? If you guys didn't see the live stream that I did earlier, make sure you guys check it out. But at one point in that live stream, we did a review on 2 officers from Detroit. And shout out to Lois, I'm sorry. If I'm not mistaken, it's Lois who gave us the name of the white police officer when we talked about this earlier before the information was out. So shout out to Lois. You know what I'm saying? But don't these sound exactly the same? That's all good, Mike. Don't even worry about it, bro. We all got to make the money. You know what I'm saying? We got to make money. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that all of these stories and all these complaints in the community about these different police precincts or these different police units sound the same? See, the repetition is what's important. When one thing that you'll see, and I was on Twitter because I was doing some things on Twitter. I was responding to Torian, and sometimes when I get off of there, because I only use Twitter really just to share my content and to message. You know, I don't really post too often. But man, I found myself posting. I was reposting these idiotic tweets that people had put up and responding to them. And I'm like, this is one of the reasons why I don't come on here. You know what I'm saying? People showing how dumb they are. All of these people literally asking the same thing. How can this be racism? So now here's the question, right? When it comes to the WS media, literally the WS media didn't go over anything about how they thought the public would receive this. For the most part, any black content creator, any black media, before this became a discussion, we all said exactly what would happen and how the media spun it. And everybody who did a commentary on it, they've done every single thing that we've all said. So if that doesn't tell you who the legitimate media is, I don't know what does. You know what I'm saying?
So I put my hands up, and one of the officers proceeded to come to the car, and he physically pulled me out by my shoulder with a gun no more than a foot away from my head.
Cornell McKinney says he could get no response to his complaints to police internal affairs over how he was stopped without reason. His story is now getting national attention after the dramatic video of Scorpion officers seeming to do the same thing to Tyre Nichols.
So according to this guy's story, I'm going to run this back. If you listen to his story and you watch this little clip of the Tyre Nichols incident, they literally did the exact same thing to Tyre Nichols that they threatened to do to this guy. Just ran up on him all crazy, pointing guns, talking about we're gonna blow your head off and doing all this crazy stuff. That's not how the police are supposed to come up to you. That would scare the living crap out of anybody.
Affairs over how he was stopped without reason. His story is now getting national attention after the dramatic video of Scorpion officers seeming to do the same thing to Tyre Nichols and going even further. McKinney tells me he has signed on with Ben Crump's law firm. And on CBS This Morning, Crump said there is more to come in this case.
We're going to have a press conference tomorrow with another citizen who said he was just going to get a pizza about 3 or 4 days before this happened to.
That's the mutant powers that I was talking about with Ben Crump. You see how he's immediately on this? Like, I mean, Ben Crump got a infinity gauntlet when it comes to ambulance chasing. You know what I'm saying? Like, his black power fist has all the infinity gauntlets on it, because this dude be instantaneously in time space right on the scene when some shit happens. Like, this man's time efficiency is inhuman. You know what I'm saying?
Tyre Nichols, and that they attacked him, threw him on the ground, put a gun to his head, and he reported it the next day, called twice. And they never responded. And the belief, Gail and Tony and Vlad, is if they would have just responded, then maybe, just maybe, Tyre Nichols would not have been killed 3 days later.
The same thing Cornell.
Toria Ray said Ben Crump looked like the California Raisins. You know what I'm saying? Anytime somebody black get harmed by the police, here he come. Ooh, I heard it through the grapevine. Somebody was having a hard time. I heard it through the grapevine. You ain't right, man. You are not right. We're the one that playing the saxophone.
McKinney told me last week.
And I was like, that's them. I said, that's crazy. That's them. I said, now they don't really hurt somebody. This could have been prevented if the Internal Affairs took action like I was asking them to do.
Following up on complaints is one of several issues yet to be investigated.
Yo, shout out to this brother, man. Shout out to this brother. My man, this is how you know, because I do this too. This is why this funny. And y'all know this because y'all seen my videos, you know, me and TD and, you know, my live streams. I'll say something completely wrong and just keep it moving. Like, I don't know if I heard this wrong, but I swear my dude just said the Eternal Affairs, which is funny because that's actually how this be. It's like this stuff be taking forever. So instead of calling it the Internal Affairs, my man said the Eternal Affairs, but that's actually more accurate because they be bullshitting forever.
The Eternal Affairs.
Yeah, he said the Eternal Affairs. He said it. He did that. Shout out to my man right here. He's serious. I mean, he did. He ain't joking around. He's trying so hard to make sure that what he needs to say comes out right that he messed it up. I'm telling you, I ain't mad at this brother. I do that too. I do that all the time.
Now they don't really hurt somebody. This could have been prevented if the Internal Affairs took action like I was asking them to do.
Following up on
that's what you call an FBA memory lapse. You know what I'm saying? That's something FBA specific. You know what I'm saying?
complaints is one of several issues yet to be investigated. Memphis City Council member Patrice Robinson says after getting the first presentation by the Memphis Police Department introducing the Scorpion Unit in 2021, she is not aware of many updates on their successes or any problems, something she says needs to change.
We're going to have some professional support so that we can get the information that we need, so we know what to ask for. And when we get reports, we know that what was in that report was relevant to the community. The community is asking for data transparency, and I believe that they are correct in asking for that, especially where we are today.
April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
Over the weekend, MPD announced it is disbanding the Scorpion Unit. We have asked for a copy of all complaints made against that Scorpion Unit and the outcome of those complaints. Of course, we'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Now, the news should be coming out with an expose on the Scorpion unit probably pretty soon, because all they have to do is file a local Freedom of Information Act, and they should be able to get that information fairly quickly. You know what I'm saying? So remember what I said? That's one of the reasons why I thought that they might try to disband it as quickly as possible so that they could torch as many of the records as they possibly could, because this was coming. You know what I'm saying? You guys remember that? This was coming. Yeah, just like when we say Pacific instead of specific facts. That's because we have a sea of knowledge, bro. Don't hate, Carlton. People say Pacific because we got a sea of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So now, according to this report from CBS News, they say that the Scorpion unit lacked training. And this is what some former police say. So my question is, why is it that if they lack police training, were they out in the street? That's the question.
Center of the deadly beating is a task force known as the Scorpion Unit. Well, and now the Memphis Police Department has disbanded the anti-crime group. In our CBS News investigation, CBS's Catherine Herridge takes a closer look at these specialized units used across the country.
Footage released Friday night of 29-year-old Tyre Nichols' violent beating in Memphis.
Hold on real quick. See, and you can't, hold on.
Reignited the national confidence
on,
played
man.
for Nichols.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Sorry for, you guys know I'm not trying to show any of that. So sorry about that for that little clip that they have. I'm telling you, the news continues to just like try to chop this up and throw it in as much as they possibly can. So my bad. I apologize. And yeah, absolutely rebellious when the whole world is watching this. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure that you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell icon and subscribed, make sure that you guys do that. And remember, just hang tight at the end of this stream. It'll take you right into the next one. And that next one will be starting at 12:55 a.m. All right. And it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Some stuff that you guys may or may not have heard about. How many people in here, just out of curiosity, how many people in here are from Illinois or Chicago? If you're from Illinois or Chicago, give me a thumbs up.
For their what I would describe as their anti-crime, anti-violent crime.
Shout out to my man D. Scott. What's up, bro?
NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton.
Usually it's focused on a problem that a community is having at a particular time.
The Memphis Scorpion Unit was created in 2021 in response to the record high homicide rate.
Why do they keep showing that shit, man? Like, okay, what's annoying about this is that people have made it very clear we don't want to keep seeing that on repeat. So why is it that on these news reports, when the news report is supposed to be something else, not the dash or not the body cam video, do they just throw that in without warning? Like, that's irritating. You know what I'm saying?
Awful. What measures need to be in place?
Now, here's a question. Why is it that on YouTube, if we did a commentary, say for instance, we happen to do a commentary over the body cam videos, they would mark our videos inappropriate for all audiences, but we don't get any warning when we're trying to show something like this. And facts, Tori, and they do it every single time something like this happens. Super facts, bro.
Nature of these units require significant supervision, something that was apparently missing in the Scorpion unit in Memphis. And then, most importantly, training. The 5 Memphis officers charged in Nichols' death. So what they're doing is they're turning this into a training unit. And I think it's interesting that this guy that they have here talking, he took the Jason Whitlock approach and says, quote unquote, it's the supervision, which means that he's pointing it back at the woman who is in charge of the precinct. Were not longtime veterans of the force. A former Memphis police officer told CBS News the Scorpion unit training consisted of 3 days of PowerPoint presentations, 1 day of suspect apprehension training, and 1 day at the fire. Okay, I was wondering if another screen came on. Is it just me, or did the music just randomly play? Like, they didn't have no music in this whole video, and then all of a sudden some elevator music just came on. That threw me all the way off. My bad, y'all. Range. Similar issues plagued cities like Chicago, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. The Scorpion unit had gained its own reputation. Shout out to my man, Black Bitcoin Key. What up, bro?
It's a militarized, undercover culture that runs into communities.
Community activist Devontae Hill.
There are these special units that actually cause more harm than they do help in the community.
Well, the Memphis Police Department said it will deactivate the Scorpion unit. Bratton told CBS News these anti-crime task forces are essential to policing when there is proper recruitment, training, and supervision. And nor today, the Memphis Police Department did not respond to CBS News' questions.
That newswoman who was just talking, her skin looks like it's hanging onto her face for dear life. You know what I'm saying? Looks like she might need some construction equipment for a facelift. But anyway, video footage of the brutal police beating of Tyre Nichols has reignited the national conversation on policing in America, as well as brought increased scrutiny to specialized police units. The Memphis Police Department disbanded its Scorpion team, a specialized unit formed in 2021 to fight violent street crime, over the weekend after 5 of its members were charged in the death of Nichols. Now, I don't believe that the sixth man, you know what I'm saying, the John Candy looking dude, I don't know if he's been charged yet. I know that he's been relieved of his duty, but I don't know if he's been charged yet. Bill Bratton, the former chief of the Los Angeles Police Department and former commissioner of the New York City Police Department, said the Memphis unit ran into trouble because it lacked the necessary training. Now, why aren't special units supposed to have more training? Aren't they supposed to do the same job that everybody else does, plus their special job? And real quick, I didn't even see the super chat. I apologize, the rebellious one. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show the rebellious one some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat. We got a $5 super chat. So shout out to rebellious one for being the first person to sponsor the stream. My man says, we are watching the fall of America in real time. Black folks understand we are now a part of this history that will take place. Big facts. Super facts. I agree. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. So now here it says the nature of these units require significant supervision, something that was apparently missing in the Scorpion unit in Memphis, he told CBS News. And then, most importantly, training. A former Memphis police officer who asked that his name not be used due to the sensitivity of the situation told CBS News that the Scorpion unit's training consisted of 3 days of PowerPoint presentations, 1 day of suspect apprehension training, and 1 day at the firing range. Man, it takes more training to become an STNA than that. You know what I'm saying? It takes more training to become an STNA than that. As a matter of fact, it takes more training to become a fry cook at Burger King than that. Some PowerPoints, firing range, something you already know how to do. Sheesh. It takes more training to become a YouTuber than that. You know what I'm saying? Similar issues have plagued units in cities like Chicago, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. In 2017, Baltimore's gun trace task force was disbanded, and 8 officers were later convicted of racketeering and extortion, among other charges. So now, if there's been police reform and things are changing, why is it that there's so many cases of these kind of things to cite every time something like this happens? Our resident troll, we live on the table 7, is in the building. My man Cyberdean is in the house. Don P. Yahuda, what up with it, Don P? B1 First is in the building. What up with it, bro? Perfect Pure TM, another long-time subscriber. Mama Zeke, what up with it, Mama Zeke? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got another donation, a super sticker. Make sure you guys show some love to Cyberdean, who, since he's found the channel, he's been a huge supporter already. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Cyberdean, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to the Greek Surgeon. What up with it, bro? Yeah, Jess M says, I'm a hairstylist and I have to have 1,500 hours for my license and continuing education. Yeah, that's facts. And then usually in most cases, you have to do CEUs, continuing education units, or some kind of education training update on new equipment and different things like that. We got DSB in the house. What's good with the DSB? So now here it says in Memphis, the Scorpion unit had gained its own reputation. It's a militarized undercover culture that runs into communities. Community activist Devontae Hill told CBS News, these are these special units that actually cause more harm than they do help in the community. though the Memphis Police Department said it's permanently deactivating the Scorpion unit, Bratton said such anti-crime task force are essential to policing when there is proper training and supervision. So I guess what we can assume is that they feel that the people in the community are expendable because they feel that the training and supervision are not necessary because they're not providing it. And as we see, they have horrible outcomes. You know what I'm saying? They have horrible outcomes. I ain't mad at it, B1 first. I'm not mad at it. Anything that we get, shares, likes, comments, you know what I'm saying, donations definitely help. But I understand how everybody needs their money because we live in a money-based world. Don't even trip. I appreciate anything that everybody does. Just being here is donation enough. You know what I'm saying? Anything extra is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. You guys know that. You know what I'm saying? So now, did you guys know 7 officers involved in Tyre Nichols' death relieved of duty, and 3 Memphis Fire Department members were fired? Did you guys hear about that? Did you guys hear about these other 2 officers? I know you guys heard about the one, but did you hear about the other one? And then 3 Memphis Fire Department members fired? If you guys heard about this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not hear about this, give me a thumbs down. So let's check this video out. Hopefully they don't give us any surprise footage.
But we do begin with the release of that devastating body cam video now seen around the world showing Tyre Nichols.
Hold on real quick. Let me see. Okay. Hold on. Okay. That kind of worried me because she said starting out, this is what we have in the beginning. So I'm like, oh, Lord, are they about to show it? It didn't look like they had anything in there.
But we do begin with the release of that devastating body cam video now seen around the world showing Tyre Nichols' violent arrest leading to his death. That footage showing police brutally beating Nichols. He left the scene in an ambulance, but he died 3 days later. 5 former Memphis police officers.
She said, but he died 3 days later. They couldn't have edited that out.
Face charges now, including second-degree murder. And 2 fire personnel and 2 sheriff's deputies are on leave amid that ongoing investigation into the attack. Memphis police also confirming now a 6th officer who is white also responded to the scene of that traffic stop. He has been relieved of duty. Police say he was let go when the other officers were fired, but we didn't learn about this additional officer until now. Here's his name, Preston Hemphill, and he has not been charged. In a statement from his lawyer, well, the lawyer says Hemphill is cooperating with the investigation. ABC News.
So much for that blue wall of silence. That big boy Hemphill gonna get a plea deal. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna throw them brothers under the bus. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's looking like. He about to do like Gunna, take an Alfred plea.
Stephanie Ramos has more now from Memphis, and we continue to warn you the images are disturbing.
Okay, so let's not see those images. Yeah, let's not see that. Okay, hold on. I mean, I don't understand why they can't do a report without showing this.
With second-degree murder had been members of a specialized crime unit called the Scorpion Unit, formed in November of 2021 to patrol high-crime hotspots. Scorpion now permanently disbanded.
This Scorpion Unit was designed to saturate under the guise of crime fighting, and what it wound up doing instead was creating a continual pattern and practice of bad behavior.
Widespread outrage over Nichols' death has...
Why? See, this is what I'm talking about. No warning, no nothing.
2 Memphis fire personnel, as well as 2 Shelby County Sheriff's deputies, have been placed on leave pending investigations. Attorneys for 2 of the former officers, Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmett Martin, saying their clients intend to plead not guilty. Mills's attorney releasing a statement saying, "We are confident that the questions of whether Desmond crossed the lines that others crossed and whether he committed the crimes charged will be answered with a resounding no." ABC News reached out to the attorneys representing former officers Justin Smith to Darius Bean, but have not heard back. An attorney for Demetrius Haley declined to comment. Throughout the weekend, peaceful protests from coast to coast, calls for justice in Tyre's name. Meanwhile,
So now, how many times have we seen this, guys? Yeah, they do. They do. They absolutely do. They love mentally torturing black people. And that's one of the reasons why people got to start making a big push to get the media to stop showing this kind of stuff, or to be punished, or have to have some kind of heavy monetary de-incentivization on doing this. Because otherwise they're going to keep running up a paycheck on people's blood, which is what they're doing. Yeah, I agree, man. Facts.
Nichols' family asking that this is how he is remembered.
So the Nichols family asked that this is how he's remembered. You see him peaceful, chilling, looks like he's at home in a loving environment, at peace. If this is how the Nichols family wants him to be remembered, then we have to ask the question, why does the media continue to show him in the most painful position he's probably ever dealt with? Why is the media doing that? The media literally just said, this is how the family wants him to be remembered. Now, here's the question. Have you seen this picture on the news more, or have you seen him being tortured and beaten on the news more? So the news media clearly knows what they're doing, and they're feeding the population at large the message that they want them to see, and they're attempting to condition us with the message that they show us. You see what I'm saying?
The young man who loved photography and skateboarding. This video of Nichols doing what he loved with.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love to my man Torian Rain with the $10 super chat. Throw some radiation emojis in the chat. My man Torian says, them showing this video clip over and over again is the equivalent of them sending the postcard of lynching blacks back in the day. Doing it digital now means way more now can see it. Yeah, absolutely. And they can get it out a lot quicker. Super facts. That's exactly what this is, bro. Great call. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. 110%. And that's one of the reasons I think that one of the things that people should stop doing is think about the things that we tell the media to stop doing. We need to start crushing their message. No, we're going to suffocate this. You're not going to show this. We're going to take this narrative and talk about it, because you're clearly not doing what the family wishes. The media is allegedly supposed to represent citizen journalism, and citizen journalism, the citizen says that they want their son shown in a peaceful and happy way, and the media is not doing that. They're showing him in a traumatic and harmed way. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love to Janesta with the $5 super chat. Throw some radiation emojis in the chat. Janesta says, you will think after the disease lifted, society will be different. You would think. You would think. But then if you think a little bit harder and understand that people can't escape human behavior, and you look at what's happening today versus what happened yesterday, gotta ask yourself that question.
With the sun shining around him has gone viral. And this photo, distributed by his family, showing him as a loving father, capturing the man described as kind and gentle.
That's interesting. Looks like his child is mixed. They haven't asked his girlfriend anything, or his child's mom anything, about how the baby's life is going to be different after the impact of this. Wonder why that is. You guys see that?
Doing what he loved with the sun shining around him has gone viral. And this photo.
Baby, pretty light skin. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting. I wonder what's going on there. And again, I'm not saying that to criticize his life, not saying that to criticize his relationship, not saying that to criticize his child. I'm saying that to criticize the media. I wonder why they haven't asked the mother, whoever she may be, how this is going to impact the child's life. Notice how they haven't done that. Just saying.
Photo distributed by his family, showing him as a loving father, capturing the man described as kind and gentle.
Stephanie joining me live from Memphis now. So, Stephanie, the response to this body cam footage, clearly it was felt across the nation, but you're still there in Memphis where it all happened.
I don't think that it was felt across the nation, because the only thing that it seems like PC people are saying is this is proof that there's no such thing as racism, and they're literally trying to use this to snowball conservative talking points. You got listen, you got Larry Elder sitting here saying that these guys were a diversity hire. How the hell were they a diversity hire in a city where the majority of people are black? If it was a diversity hire there, it would be other people, not black people, who were integrated into the police department, because diversity means spreading the amount of distribution of each group of people. If black people are the largest distribution of people in that area, the diversity would be to be hiring whites, Asians, and Latinos. But Larry Elder says that these guys were diversity hires. How do you have black diversity hires in a majority black area? How does that work? How do you do that? How does that work? So the conservative narrative, ladies and gentlemen, mainstream media, population at large, Fox News, yada, 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 MAGA Trump. If we have jobs, we're all diversity hires. We don't have brains. We're not capable of doing anything. We're not capable of any type of productive activity. Each and every single one of us who has a job, we're only hired as a result of a diversity hire, which I find fascinating, because it's actually white women who benefit from the diversity hiring the most. So I wonder why Larry Elder didn't say anything about that. You know what I'm saying? Which is interesting, because I don't know how many white women were on the police force down there in Memphis, but I know some of the white women who are on the police force in Tennessee, they get down and dirty and then they end up getting fired. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Officer Megan Hall. So I don't know. Those are things that Larry Elder brought up that Larry Elder should address, instead of sitting there looking like Two-Face on Torian Rain's thumbnail for his video. You know what I'm saying? So the rebellious one, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys throw some radiation emojis in the chat. You guys are showing super love, and I definitely appreciate it. You guys all know it'll get reinvested right back into the platform. The rebellious one says, it don't feel like they want us to retaliate. They never do. They never do. They want to be able to predict everything that happens. And that's one of the reasons why I say one thing that we need to start doing is start responding in an unpredictable way. An unpredictable way would be to make the streets a ghost town and protest the news continuously showing these units, because the police killing him once is bad enough. It being forced reenacted to us on the news is him being killed all of those times all over again. So if you ask me, anytime these things happen, the news should also be sued, because they're complicit in making people feel that there's nothing to worry about in harming a black person, because they're normalizing the everyday visualization of a black person being harmed. You know what I'm saying? So if Ben Crump was a for real lawyer, he would be on that. Anytime this happened, the media, all of them, would be countersued as being complicit to this violence, because by showing this all these times, you're encouraging it. You know what I'm saying?
How are residents feeling about this story today?
Well, Kira, people here are still upset about what happened to Tyre Nichols, but there is a sense of relief in knowing that officers have been charged. As we just learned, another officer was relieved of duty. So this is still a very open investigation.
There's no relief in the officers being charged, because they're black officers being charged. Black officers being charged isn't a guarantee that if white officers did this, they would get charged. And that's even evident right within this case, because it took so long for them to just even fire the other officer. So again, what you're doing is you had a mainstream media telling you something that's completely different from the data and what they're presenting.
Investigation, and the people here recognize that. over the weekend, there were protests, not only here in Memphis, but in other parts of the country. And we met with a woman who was marching in the protests here in Memphis. She was with her 3 young sons. And I have to share with you that she said she just wants her young boys to be able to grow up here. She said she couldn't really find the words to explain to them what exactly happened, but she just had to show them that video.
If it's young black men that are always getting killed, why do they only ever talk to and about women? Why don't they find some young black men, some other black men that worked at FedEx, and ask them, do you fear driving to work now? What the, no offense, I understand that this woman's or this man's mother is hurt because she lost her son, but this is a situation that black men deal with. This is a black male situation. A black male got killed. So we're going to ask moms and mothers about how they feel about this. Why don't you ask another black dude who's going to work? This could happen on the way to work. Guess what? They say that we don't work. Because according to the lamestream media, black women run the community. Yeah. And F the dad's feelings. Facts. Facts. Why don't you ask a black person that lives in the city and has to drive to the suburbs at night to go to work 3rd shift about getting pulled over in the suburbs? Why don't you ask them about that? You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why they keep showing him saying, or they keep bringing up the fact that he was calling for his mom. They're trying to down that's a sly WS trolling mechanism against his stepdad and his biological dad. That's what they're doing. I want you guys to see this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they're doing. No black male should ever support the Democrats because Democrats have unapologetically shown black male misandry. And we don't need to be voting for no misandry establishment. They've already done enough. You know what I'm saying?
And she said she wants her sons to be polite with police. She says she wants them to be good citizens, but it was really difficult for her to explain this to them, especially being born and raised here in Memphis. There's another man that we spoke to.
I got to agree with We Live on the Table here. We Live on the Table says, Rob, I'm telling you, election year will get worse. BLM and the media will go full nuclear. And that's one of the reasons why we have to have our media apparatuses built up to maximum capacity by that time, which is one of my goals. That's one of my goals, to have every media apparatus that I use and every media apparatus that I have as a platform available to me to be able to far overshadow mainstream media narratives so that we can make sure that we're controlling what's being said, not this kind of nonsense, and also criticizing and decrediting the media. Not just out reporting them, but also exposing and showing every single one of their flaws. You know what I'm saying? To where they're rendered completely irrelevant. That's one of the things that we have to do. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're going to continue to have situations like this. How you ever going to learn about how black men feel about these kind of things happening to black men if you never talk about a black man, never talk to a black man? You know what I'm saying? You're talking to a mother with 3 children about a black man getting killed in the police or in the street by police. You know what I'm saying? This is the media doing this. You know what I'm saying? And just to be clear, this isn't me turning this into gender war content, because it's not gender war content. I'm not being a misogynist because I'm saying, why don't you ask other males who are in this situation? Black males are the largest demographic of this happening to. So why would you ask another demographic? That's all I'm saying. You know, the feminists out there take what I'm saying and say that, oh, you know, he's not doing anything except for going by what the evidence shows.
During that protest here, and he said he wanted to see that Scorpion unit disbanded. As we saw, that did happen, and that's the type of quick change, quick action that people here want to see.
So, Stephanie, let me ask you about Preston Hemphill. Nichols' family, of course, is now questioning why that 6th officer, who happens to be white, was not charged. What more do we know about him?
Not only why was he not charged, why was he not disciplined alongside the other ones? That's a question. What do you guys think? Why was he not charged alongside the other ones? If you ask me, the shout out to social media, the black media, independent content creators, black Twitter, people sharing things on Facebook, everybody that watches the content, you guys in the comment section, the media blogs and different things like that online. Because if those people online didn't put up those tweets and retweet it and everybody work as a network, I don't think that he would have got I don't think that white guy would have even got looked at. I think he would have been working and it would have been business as usual. What do you guys think? If it wasn't for the social media and the networking. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to make sure that you share the content and different things like that, because in many cases that contributes to being able to achieve some form of mutated justice. Because when it comes to living in this system, what we have to understand is that as long as the court system is in place, as long as the police are the agents of the court system, and as long as the court system interprets the laws of this land, and we know what laws govern the land, we can only get mutated forms of justice. We can't get pure justice. So anytime somebody gets a consequence, what you got to understand is that it's a mutated consequence. It's not a pure consequence, because it's not us divvying out the consequences. It'll only be pure consequences when it's us divvying out the consequences. You know what I'm saying?
And how the Memphis Police Department is treating his case.
Well, we still have so many questions about that. What we do know is that he was the third officer at that initial stop. He was not, his attorney says that he was not at the second location. And as you mentioned, he has.
Oh, man. B1 First says, how do you cop a deal on murder? Basically, it depends on what the judge says. Me and Izzy, long time ago, did a stream about a college student at the University of Akron in Ohio who killed his roommate over a piece of pizza. He killed his roommate over a piece of pizza. Killed him. They were drunk. And he got less than a year in jail. And I'm not making that up. How many people heard about that story? If you guys heard about that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't, give me a thumbs down.
Has been relieved of duty. So it's interesting. It seems as though the police department, the police chief, they're taking their time and trying to figure out exactly how to go about this particular situation, being that they haven't said that he is fired. So that's a process. I think this is going to be a very long process, given the amount of people that were there at the scene, the amount of officers that were there on that scene. You could see in that video, there were a good amount, not just those 5 officers, but the attorney for Hemphill, he does say that Hemphill is cooperating with this investigation. So I'm sure we will learn more in the next few days, hopefully.
So there's that. All right. So it looks like a lot of you guys haven't seen that story. So I'll try to find it in between when when this stream ends and when the next stream starts. And I'll go into that story first before we go into the remainder of the content that we're doing. Now, Jay Field says it must be some good pizza. They got this place called Giannino's. You know what I'm saying? Giannino's pizza tastes really good, but I swear they must season the fried chicken. The batter that they use, they must put a little bit of crack in there, because I don't know who came up with that recipe and I don't know where they came up with that recipe. I'm not saying that I, agree with violence or anything, but I could see how somebody would get highly upset if you had ordered a hot box of Giannino's and somebody messed around and ate your chicken. I could see that. Again, I'm not saying that I could justify, what this dude did, but I could see the rage. I could see it. So I'd have to know if it was Giannino's or not. You know what I'm saying? And there's another place called Rassisi's. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually, there's a couple places. There's other place called Luigi's too. They got some good pizza. You know what I'm saying? If it was one of them 3, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna look a little bit deeper into the story. But if it wasn't one of them 3, you know what I'm saying? You talking about Little Caesars or something like that? You talking about Domino's? You know what I'm saying? Pizza Hut. Come on, bro. Stop it. Romeo's with that nasty sauce they got. Come on, stop it. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says 2 additional Memphis police officers, including the white officer seen encountering Tyre Nichols during his traffic stop, were relieved of duty, and 3 Memphis Fire Department personnel were fired as the investigation into the January 7th death of Nichols continued, officials announced on Monday. Officer Preston Hemphill and an unidentified officer were relieved of their duty a day after the incident, Memphis PD revealed on Monday. The Memphis Fire Department also announced Monday that it fired 2 EMTs and a lieutenant who responded to the scene for failing to properly assess Nichols as he lay beaten on the ground. Hemphill, who is white, allegedly deployed his taser during the confrontation. Now, they said that he allegedly died of renal failure, right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but when a taser deploys, one of the things that the taser does is it destroys your red blood cells, and also it disrupts the electricity activity of your nervous system, and it can possibly disrupt the conduction of your heart. Now, when there's red blood cell destruction, what ends up happening is the fragments of the red blood cells can overwork your kidneys if you don't have an efficient GFR, which is a glomerular filtration rate. Did you guys catch all of that? So if he did end up dying of renal failure, all of the injuries that occurred to him would have to be looked at, and any injury that could have caused red blood cell damage could be a possible cause. Shout out to my man Kid Gravity Beyond. Kid Gravity Beyond checked out our live recording of me and TD's one-offs. Shout out to my man Kid Gravity for being in there. So what do you guys think about that? Those tasers, if somebody has a pacemaker or if you have a conduction issue with your heart, you know, like if you have PVCs or PACs, you know what I'm saying? Premature ventricular beats or premature atrial beats, it could throw off your electrical conduction and change your sinus rhythm, which is a normal heartbeat, into a lethal rhythm like ventricular tachycardia or atrial fibrillation. And you could possibly be deleted as a result of that. Kid Gravity said y'all were streaming at the same time as me. My bad, bro. That was TD's fault. Make sure you guys blame TD for that. We got to tell TD don't be streaming at the same time as Kid Gravity. You know what I'm saying? Don't be monopolizing these airwaves out here. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, in his own body camera video, Hemphill is seen chasing Nichols down the road, but then turns back to the scene of the initial traffic stop. Hemphill was heard on his body camera video saying twice, "I hope they stomp his ASS." And honestly, this should be an accomplished, because what he hoped for, what he told him he hoped that they would do, they actually ended up doing. So it was almost as if he was giving a command. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not shared the video out to your social media, please make sure you guys share the video out to your social media. And also, if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that bell. So now here it says Officer Preston Hemphill and the other officers and interactions have continued to be the subject of this investigation since its inception on January 8th of 2023, the department said in a statement. 5 other officers, who are all black, were previously fired and charged with second-degree murder in connection with Nichols' beating at a traffic stop. Nichols, who was 29, died 3 days later. All right. So here's the public statement that the police made. The public statements are never usually this long. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Hemphill's attorney, Lee Gerald, said earlier that Hemphill was the third officer at Nichols' initial traffic stop. The first body camera footage released Friday was from Hemphill's device. So the first body camera footage released was from Hemphill's device, and he was the last one to have anything done, and he still technically hasn't had anything done because he hasn't been fired. I said the same thing. I said the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I said the exact same thing. And now you see them combing back through the Scorpion unit and looking back at everything that they've ever done. Now, here's the question, right? All of this information, especially all of the information about the police officers being in the fraternities and all of the issues that happened with the fraternity, all of that stuff has been public information. They didn't just find that stuff out now. It's all been available. But now there's a necessity to talk about it. Why is there a necessity to talk about it now? Shout out to Vega. What up with it, Vega? You see how that works? As per departmental regulations, Officer Hemphill activated his body cam, Gerald said earlier in a statement. He was never present at the second scene. He is cooperating with officials in this investigation. It doesn't matter. He helped to initiate the event that led to a murder. He was a contributor to the proximate cause, period. Nothing else to say. The Memphis FD revealed more details Monday about their members' actions during the incidents. Memphis Fire Dispatch received a call from the Memphis PD at 8:31 p.m. to respond to a person pepper sprayed at the intersection of East Rains Road and Ross Road, according to the fire department. An ambulance arrived at the scene and then directed to the second location where the cops encountered Nichols, the fire department said. EMT Basic Robert Long and EMT Advanced Jamichael Sandridge made it to the scene where Tyre Nichols was located, handcuffed on the ground, leaning against a police vehicle, while an unidentified ambulance driver and Lieutenant Michelle Whitaker remained inside the vehicle at approximately 8:41 p.m., according to the fire department. The department said the EMTs requested another ambulance to respond after their initial interactions with Mr. Nichols, and the additional ambulances didn't arrive on the scene until 8:55 p.m. Our investigation has concluded that the two EMTs responded based on the initial nature of the call, person pepper sprayed, and information they were told on the scene, and failed to conduct an adequate patient assessment of Mr. Nichols, Memphis Fire Department said in a statement. Long, Sandridge, and Whitaker were all fired for violating numerous MFD policies and protocols, the department said. Their actions or inactions on the scene that night do not meet the expectations of the Memphis Fire Department and are not reflective of the outstanding here we go. They even have a template for the fire department. You guys ready for it? You guys ready for it? If you guys already know what the rest of this is going to say, go ahead and type it in the comments section. Oh, Black Light. I found another apologist for Fatlock and the cops. Lord have mercy. I'll tell you, there's a ton of them. There's a ton of them. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they're like that is because they think that they're going to get a benefit from it, or they're not intellectual enough to be able to adequately defend themselves. So they use the if you can't beat them, join them logic. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The three former fire department personnel haven't been charged. Nichols' stepfather, Rodney Wells, told ABC Live News on Friday that he thinks everyone who was active in the whole scene should be charged. And I agree, because they all contributed to his death. Attorneys for Nichols' family, Ben Crump and Antonio Romanucci, said they were extremely disappointed that Hemphill was relieved of duty but not fired or charged. The lawyers, so wait a minute, hold on. I want you guys to make sure that we understand this right. He was relieved of duty, but he wasn't fired. So he's still employed by the police. Is everybody clear on that? Let's take a pause for a moment. I've seen a lot of videos go up that said that Hemphill was fired. He was not. He was only relieved of duty. Apparently being relieved of duty and being fired are two different things. Kid Gravity Beyond says the content creator claims that he's a quote-unquote black supremacist. That's interesting. I don't know what a black supremacist is. I've actually done streams about black supremacists. You know what I'm saying? He is sitting home. Yeah, he's sitting at home, not worried about anything. Probably ordering some pimple-producing food. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that you always gonna have those kind of people, Kid Gravity, who are contrarians. You know what I'm saying? And they're the smartest people in the room. And what they really don't understand is that the people that they're entertaining are just laughing profusely at them while egging them on. You know what I'm saying? Just egging them on. You know what I mean? The lawyers are also questioning why the Memphis police did not immediately announce Hemphill's name or that he was relieved of duty, especially seeing how it was his body cam footage that was used for the initial body cam viewings. Kid Gravity said, I left a comment. Let's see if he says something. Oh, yeah, he'll say something, and all of his people in the comment section will say something. And those people are it. Sometimes what you just have to understand is that sometimes when the house is burning, if there's people that will fight you to try to get out of the house, it's better off for you and them to let them burn up with the house. It's better for them because they'll be out of their misery, and it's better for you because you can actually get out and prosper. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say that. Actually, I don't hate to say that, but I mean, that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, why is his identity and the role he played in Tyre's death just now coming to light? They said in a statement. We have asked from the beginning that the Memphis Police Department be transparent with the family and the community. This news seems to indicate that they haven't risen to the occasion. And I would tend to agree. The fact that all of this is just now happening after they've made this big production about the black officers, I'd agree with that statement. If you guys agree with that statement, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Lala Papa. What up with it, Lala Papa? B1. It certainly begs the question why the white officer involved in this brutal attack was shielded and protected from the public eye. Probably so white people can continue to say, how is this racism? Despite the fact that the only reason why they're saying that is racism is because it's an incident between two black people. Two black entities, I should say, not two black people, and they're not looking at the entire situation surrounding it. It's the police versus a citizen, but now what white people have done is they went from Blue Lives Matter and blue lining the police to now these are black criminals. I saw on Tariq Nasheed's live stream, some white woman said that the police were vice lords. Other people are coming up with all kinds of conspiracy theories. And you know how a lot of times they like to do, they'll just make stuff up. There'll be a documentary on Rumble called The Black on Black Criminal Reason Why Tyrone Davis was Deleted or something like that. It'll be one of those Project Veritas died suddenly type productions where it's just a bunch of nonsense strung together and somebody like Mark Dice said it, so it has to be true. You know what I'm saying? My man Torian says, Rob, I don't know if you saw, but an article came out that said Tyre was given 71 random commands over the span of 13 minutes just so that they could say that he was not complying. Yeah, I believe it. I didn't see that article, but I totally believe it. And that's one of the reasons why they actually get into tussles with people is because when you're up close and personal, it blocks everything going on the body cam because the body cam can't zoom out and see the entire situation. So that's one of the reasons why they pile on like that, to make that field of opaqueness so that they can't see what's going on. The police officers think they're smart, but if they were smart, they'd be doctors, not police officers. You know what I'm saying? So they're under a delusion. So now here it says Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy said in a statement Monday that the investigation was ongoing and that more charges could be filed. We're all looking at individuals involved in the events leading up to, during, and after the beating of Tyre Nichols. What they need to start saying is the murder of Tyre Nichols. It wasn't just a beating. He's no longer in the ICU recovering. So they shouldn't be allowed to continue to report this as quote unquote the beating, because it's not quote unquote the beating. It's now the murder, the homicide. You know what I'm saying? This includes the officer present at the initial encounter who has not so far been charged. Memphis Fire Department personnel, and the persons who participated in preparing the documentation of the incident afterwards. The DA's office worked extraordinarily swift, but thoroughly to charge those whose offenses were plain and clear and directly contributed to the death of Mr. Nichols. But in no way is this investigation over, the office added. Yeah, and no way is the investigation over that we're doing as far as this goes either. You know what I'm saying? Because what we've shown here is that we can't leave these things to the mainstream media to be looked at all, because the mainstream media engages in irresponsible reporting as well as propaganda. So they can't be trusted, and they shouldn't be trusted. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't be trusted. Shout out to Z-Man. I ain't seen you in a minute, Z-Man. Good to see you. You know what I'm saying? So now let's check this out right here.
Investigation deepens into the beating death of Tyre Nichols. We've learned 2 more MPD officers have been relieved of duty after Memphis and the world.
Now, they still haven't given any information about the 7th police officer. They gave information about the 6th. But pay very close attention to how they ran all that by us, and they didn't tell us about the 6th officer. You know what I'm saying? I agree 100%, Don. We have to combat these situations with low tone octaves and the wearing of our own body cams and cameras inside of our cars, and, you know, having the phone on and stuff like that. Absolutely. I agree 110%. Anytime the police pull you over, go live on some social media or something. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a camera system, you always got your phone. You always have a portable camera system with you. You always got your phone. You know what I'm saying?
All the arrest videos released Friday night.
We now know one of those former officers is Preston Hemphill. WREG's Alex Coleman tells us who police say this officer is and why 2 other agencies are also investigating several of their employees.
The fallout from the release of this.
Here we go. Can we not show that? Or give some, don't they usually say warning, the content is graphic? Don't they usually do that? Am I crazy? Now, when I ask am I crazy, everybody is allowed to answer that question except for Jaybird, JB Easy, and hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, because they're going to say, yes, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Everybody aside from them can answer. You know what I'm saying? But why is it that they don't give a warning? In most cases, when you watch this kind of stuff, don't they usually say, beware, the content is graphic? Now it's just boom, it's just right there, like boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we get a warning?
As Officer Preston Hemphill has been relieved of duty. Last week, Police Chief C.J. Davis told WREG they were looking at the involvement of other officers.
The most egregious actions were by the 5 officers, but there were other officers at the beginning, other officers that showed up at the scene.
Now, you know what? I don't know this woman, this CJ woman, right? I don't know her. So I don't want to just automatically go in on her because she's the boss. But what I do want to show is I want to show a pattern. Do you all remember what happened when the black police woman was the chief of police? I think it was in North Carolina. If you guys remember, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, give me a thumbs down. There was a black woman who became the chief of police in North Carolina, and something happened. What happened? Torian Rain said he did a video on her. If I'm not mistaken, like a large amount of the police on the force quit. They just randomly quit because they didn't want to have a black female supervisor. Now, the dynamics in racial makeup of these 2 precincts are completely different. But what that shows is that the white supremacist culture of law enforcement has an issue with a black female supervisor. So if we look at the pattern of how black female supervisors in charge of police departments get treated, that should be a cultural issue, since they want to talk about culture, that's brought up as well. It seems like when there's a black female police boss, the white supremacist culture that defines the police departments across the United States tends to get on code and just attempt to try to do what they want to. Now, when Jason Whitlock was talking about black women in charge of the police department, why didn't he talk about it in those terms? We're not dealing with a single mother here. We're dealing with a black female police chief. And there's a pattern of behavior that goes on when black women are in charge of the police department. And it doesn't have anything to do with the black women. What it has to do with is the white supremacist police training that doesn't let those police officers allow that person to be their authoritative figure. So my question is, if Jason Whitlock wanted to talk about quote unquote black women, why didn't he bring that up? Because now what we have is a pattern of severe incidents, and not patterns of severe incidents that were initiated by the female police boss, incidents that were initiated by the actual subordinates. Maine says that she's a black police chief who lost one of her jobs due to protecting a pedo officer. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I got to agree with Torian. Torian says that's because Fatlock has the IQ of gravel. Yeah, I was actually going to say he has the IQ of the mucus that slugs leave behind when they crawl on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Or when they slide on the ground, whatever you want to call it.
So we're looking at everybody's actions, and there will be more administrative actions taken.
A Memphis police spokesman tells WREG Hemphill has been relieved of duty pending the outcome of the investigation and has been relieved since the beginning of the investigation. Hemphill was hired in 2018. MPD has not.
So there we go again. No warnings of disturbing. Now remember, Hemphill was the last to have anything happen, and he's the first. This is his body cam footage. Okay. So they got a whole nother line of film. They've got this whole thing as the B-roll. You know, like, hold on real quick. Just get this off. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I mean, okay, here we go. I mean, you got to go through this whole chunk here to get away from the video.
Same ones in this photo, and you can hear other officers mention Hemphill's name
again. Like there again. Just want to make sure we don't catch any of this. So like they just cut to this stuff. You know what I mean? They just cut to this stuff.
Two of the deputies came walking up, and I was concerned as to why they were there and to get some answers. So we relieved them of duty and administrative.
And I mean, what's the point of this? Why didn't they just keep the graphic of the person that they had talking? You know what I'm saying?
Fire department also says it's pulled 2 EMTs from duty in response to the case.
Like
internal investigation.
I'm not even about to play no more because you can't even you can't even go through these videos without them not giving you a warning about this. Yeah, they're determined to show us that footage. They're hell-bent on it. And Kid Gravity has been saying this for a long time. Shout out to Kid Gravity. Neighborhood watches. Yeah. Anything to make sure that you get some of that leverage away from the police. You know what? If in order for me to play the audio, Deneen, I would have to download the video from YouTube. I think that maybe there might be a way that you can do it without doing that, but I'm not sure exactly how to do it because that's not usually how I set up my my streams. So I'd have to look at how to just play the audio, and then once I figure out, I think you might be able to do it with a tab open and it might play. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good though. We don't need to. You guys get the point. You know what I'm saying? We've already got it. I think everybody got the point. I think, right? If you guys got the point, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, give me a thumbs down. So now I'm curious in this New York Times article if they mention who the 7th police officer's name is, because in all of this information that we've looked at so far, What's the one thing that they haven't shown us? They haven't shown us the seventh person's name yet. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Kid Gravity said just show the comments while playing. Okay. All right, bet. So now here it says one officer, Preston Hemphill, used a stun gun that hit Mr. Nichols in the torso, according to a police report on the incident. Okay. The Memphis Police Department confirmed on Monday that 2 additional officers have been taken off duty in connection with the death of Tyre Nichols, saying little except that the 2 were under investigation as city officials and prosecutors worked to determine who was behind or who was beyond the 5 officers already charged with second-degree murder should be held responsible. Why is it that we don't know the other officer's name? Why do we know Hemphill's name and we don't know the other officer's name? Yeah, I agree. I agree, Janesta. They want black people to act a fool. The white media has been trying to ramp things up where there's a riot so they could turn around and say, look at these violent riots. But thank goodness nothing has happened yet. Fox News has actually been reporting on non-existent riots. Fox News has been reporting saying that there's violence in the street and people tearing things up and literally nobody's in the street. So there's Fox News for you. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure you guys take a moment and smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that bell icon. And also, please make sure you help me spread the message by sharing the video out to all your social media. And also make sure you follow me on my social media. You can do that by going to the About section of the page and hitting them all up. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says those investigations also led to the firing on Monday of 2 medics and a lieutenant by the Memphis Fire Department for failing to follow protocols. Now, what I find fascinating is in the little pieces of the video, because everybody has seen little amounts of the video. Did you guys ever see the EMTs assess Tyre Nichols? Did they ever take a pulse? Did they ever take a blood pressure? Did they ever shine a flashlight in his eyes to see if there was any pupil response? Did they ask him, was he in any pain? Did they do any of that kind of stuff? Don P says, did you see the 6 Dwight folks they took into custody for the damage they caused? Yeah, I did. Yet and still, they keep saying black people are tearing this up. Black people are tearing that up. There's a militia called the Boogaloo Boys that burned down a police station in Minnesota, and they continue to say that it was black people that did it. Torian said, the video I did on Demetrius Haley and Tadarius Bean went viral, currently sitting at 151 plus and was uploaded a few hours ago. That's what's good, bro. Yo, make sure you guys help those videos get more views. Torian, if you could title those and put the links to each of those videos in the chat so that people can watch and bookmark those videos and share them to help them go even more viral, that would be great, because that's the kind of stuff we got to do. So make sure everybody that's watching this video now, you guys go and watch those 2 videos that Torian's going to put the link in the chat for and share them to your social media, okay? So now here it says, including properly assessing Mr. Nichols' condition while he was slouched on the ground against a police vehicle, officials said. This should be criminal negligence, and it contributed to a death. They should lose their license. They should be under investigation by whatever board they have to test under. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I agree, man. The Torian's topics are standout. Yeah, that's facts. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the Shelby County Sheriff's Department is conducting its own investigation into the action of 2 of its deputies on the scene. Both have been relieved of duty pending the inquiry's findings. So remember, relief of duty is not equivalent to termination. Okay? Relief of duty is not equivalent to termination. So they have not been terminated. They've only been relieved of duty. Okay? That's important. Officials said that all 7 police officers had been placed on leave on January 8th, the day after Mr. Nichols, a 29-year-old black man, was stopped by officers and kicked, pepper sprayed, and punched after he ran off. So there was a 24-hour turnaround on this stuff. How often do you see that? Like, again, like, these are things that are just interesting. It's just interesting. How often do you see a 24-hour turnaround on this kind of stuff? You really don't see that very often. And see, what's funny about this is that I actually had planned on doing a video or doing a stream about this when it had first hit the news, and I just didn't get a chance to. And now all of this is going on. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says one of the officers, Preston Hemphill, arrived just before another officer had pulled Mr. Nichols from his car while it was stopped near an intersection on the evening of January 7th in southeast Memphis. The identity and involvement of the other officer, who has been suspended, have not been disclosed. So again, when these things happen, why is it that they just always suddenly end it with this sentence and they never tell us why none of this stuff has been disclosed? Why haven't they said anything about this? You know what I'm saying? Why haven't they given us this guy's name? Officer Hemphill's lawyer, Lee Gerald, said in a statement that one of the 4 videos of the encounter that were released by the city on Friday, labeled Video 1, had come from Officer Hemphill's body camera. Yeah, we know. We heard him. You know what I'm saying? He was never present at the second scene where officers caught up with Mr. Nichols after a brief foot chase and beat him severely. Mr. Gerald said of Officer Hemphill. He added that his client is cooperating with officials in this investigation. What that basically means is that he's snitching. And he's snitching in order to get a lighter sentence. So since he's cooperating with officials, that's probably why he hasn't been arrested yet, because they made him some kind of deal. Yeah, you just took the words right out of my mouth. Sounds like Operation Protect the White Boy in full effect to me. Super facts. Super facts. So now Dark Mankind says, very interesting. Could it be because the main culprits were black? How do you determine who the main culprits were? Would the main culprits be the people who initiated it? Because he was one of the people that initiated it. And he also participated in an illegal traffic stop that led to a death. And he also deployed an electronic weapon that could disrupt his nervous system as well as change the conduction of his heart and cause liver failure. So how do you determine who's the main culprits? How do you determine who has priority or not? When it comes to looking at the law, they all broke protocol, and their breach of protocol led to a death. So how does he get deprioritized? Why are the black ones the main culprits? The Scorpion unit is the main culprit, and he's part of the Scorpion unit. So I don't understand that. Yeah, and he also called for them to stomp his ass out, and they followed that command. They literally stomped his ass out. So he gave an order, and they followed the order. And that's on video. So now if you're directing orders and the orders are received and followed through, how are you not a main culprit? How do you determine who's the main culprit? Does anybody know? How do you do that? How do we just pick and choose, quote unquote, who's the main culprit? It would be different if we had evidence of maybe somebody putting together a plot or a plan and there was a main conspirator, but I don't think that there's been evidence of that released yet. Yeah, it's beyond me too, answer. Ironically, like this comment says, the answer is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, in the body camera footage, Officer Hemphill can be seen firing a stun gun at Mr. Nichols as Mr. Nichols runs away. The taser was deployed, he said to a dispatcher, telling another officer later, one of the prongs hit the bastard. So he's a bastard. Now, here's my question. This is an illegal traffic stop. Him driving reckless or no crime being committed and no probable cause has been substantiated. So this was an illegal traffic stop, which means that it was an illegal taser deployment, right? So why is he a bastard? And honestly, if you ask me, this is something that white people brought on themselves. The white media made calling black people bastards a racial slur. Since white people are so fixated on black family structures and allegedly black people not having fathers in the home, every time you hear a white person describe a black person as a bastard, you should bring that up and say that they're using that against you as a racial slur. Simply because you can, and there's plenty of evidence to substantiate it. Whether they were doing it or not, why not? You need to get punished for all of your racial propaganda. So since you made that a talking point, that talking point should stab you back. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Officer Hemphill, who is 26, was part of the specialized Scorpion unit that was created to patrol high crime areas of the city, as were the 5 officers who have been charged with murder and other offenses. Hemphill is white, which we would have had no idea of. I mean, looking at this picture, there's no possible way I would have ever guessed this. I thought he was, I don't know, I thought he was East Indian or something. And the other 5 officers are black. Would have never guessed that either. I thought they were Norwegian. You know what I'm saying? I'd have never guessed. Thank goodness for the media. If it wasn't for the media, I wouldn't know anything. You know what I'm saying? Officer Hemphill, who joined the police department in 2020, had been with the unit since October of 2022. So he was only 2 years deep. The police department said on Saturday that it had disbanded the Scorpion unit. And again, remember, the reason why they're trying to disband it so fast is so that they can get rid of and shred all of the evidence. In a statement, police officials said that the heinous actions of a few has cast a cloud of dishonor over the unit. They never say that. When have you ever heard them accept dishonor? In most cases, they say the actions of the few do not dictate the culture of the department. When have they ever said the actions of few have cast a cloud of dishonor on the unit? When have you ever heard them talk like that? If you guys have ever heard them talk like that before, give me a thumbs up. If you guys have not heard them talk like that before, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to my man Jay Fields in the building. What up with it, bro? I've never heard him talk like that. So now here it says lawyers for Nichols' family said that it was extremely disappointing to learn that Officer Hemphill had been relieved of duty but not fired or charged. Why is his identity and role he played in Tyre's death just now coming to light? The lawyers Ben Crump and Antonio Romanucci said in a statement on Monday. Also, another question is, why is it that all of those white people who are tweeting about why this isn't racism aren't addressing the lateness of this police officer's involvement in this coming to light as of right now? So why is that not happening? That's interesting, Don P. That's actually extremely interesting. We have asked from the beginning that the Memphis Police Department be transparent with the family and the community. This news seems to indicate that they haven't risen to the occasion. the police department would not answer questions Monday about the 7th officer. A spokesman said that we will update our social media when additional information is available. Well, we already know that they have additional information because they've charged the 7th officer, and they haven't updated us with any name or any charges or what he's being investigated for or anything. So there's that. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure you guys take a moment and smash that like button, because we have another live stream that is going to be extremely interesting. Okay, that's coming up next. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about in the next stream. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about. The billionaire family who is pushing synthetic sex identities. Now, here's my question. How many of you guys know what a synthetic sex identity is? If you guys know what it is, give me a thumbs up and let us know in the comment section. If you don't know what that is, give me a thumbs down. And if you guys are interested in this, throw some radiation emojis in the chat. Now, to make sure that you guys get a notification, remember, all you got to do is just stick around. Don't even move a muscle. Just hang tight for about 15 seconds. You will automatically be redirected into the next stream. Once you get into the next stream, make sure you hit the like button and also hit the bell. And if you guys want to, before the stream starts, you can leave a comment in there if you want to as well. Shout out to my man Alonzo. But this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to tie together a lot of interesting questions when talking about this. Shout out to my man Bronze God. He said, I know what synthetic oil is. You know what that gas station oil is, huh? When you ain't got no oil change, you go to the gas station like, whoo, man, my car's smoking. Let me go in there and get some of that Pennzoil Valvoline real quick. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we're going to be talking about this because this goes deep. And that's why I wanted to know how many people in here are from Chicago. How many people in here are from Illinois? If you're from Illinois or Chicago, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you're not, give me a thumbs down. And you guys will see why I'm asking about that. Because, again, I'm going to ask a question. When it comes to Illinois and when it comes to Chicago, everybody knows about Lori Lightfoot. But how many people in here can tell me the name of the governor of Illinois? Everybody knows the name of the governor of Florida, right? It's Ron DeSantis. Everybody knows the governor of New York. It's Kathy Hochul. Who knows the governor of Chicago? You guys may not know the governor of Chicago, but I guarantee you that everybody else does. Kid Gravity got it. Throw some radiation emojis in the chat for Kid Gravity. Pritzker. Remember the name. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hang tight. It'll take you right into the next stream. Hit the bell, smash the like, leave a comment, and I will catch you guys in about an hour. Yeah, facts, Dark Man. You got JB Pritzker. Yep, absolutely. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat and show some love to Dark Mankind. JB Pritzker. So just hang tight. It'll take you right on into that next stream. Hit the bell, leave a comment, and I will catch you guys in about an hour. All right?